Welcome back to the Straw Hat Duo. I'm Charlie, and today we are going over chapter 1049, titled The World You Wish For. This is a pretty crazy chapter. Very, what would the word be for it? Dividing. There's a lot of people who really like this chapter and a lot of people who don't. Let's start out with the cover page story, and it is titled Jerma 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 11. They say, what the book in the research lab is on fire. That means those two are free. Looks like somebody set the prison book on fire. I believe it was Niji and Yanji could escape. So we'll see where that goes to. But for now, let's get straight into the chapter. It starts out with just a clash between Luffy and Kaido. You see it zoomed out and you see the giant fist and the magma dragon just coming to just about a blow. They're just slightly apart, and then we see that Kaido is sitting there going, well played, I gotta hand it to you, you came this far, you've pushed me this far, you've given me a really good fight, but it's not gonna change anything, you still can't change the world. Luffy here, he looks like he's in pain. He's probably getting burnt from the magma, and also, I'm not sure how many people caught this last chapter. I don't think I did. Kaido's magma form, it's kind of enveloping him. So it's a giant form of him. He is inside the magma dragon. It's not just a coat over him. It's like a larger version of him. So that's what's clashing with Luffy right now. He becomes pretty overconfident, and then we move into a flashback of his as they're still clashing. So this flashback starts 49 years ago, and it's of a 10-year-old Kaido. And Kaido just demolished an army, it looks like, and he's the strongest soldier in his kingdom, which we learn is the Kingdom of Vodka. That's where he comes from. At least that's where he was when he was 10 years old. I want to say that's where he comes from, but it doesn't necessarily say so. He was there when he was 10 years old. At that point, they move a little bit more forward. That was like a flashback within a flashback. This flashback kind of moves through a lot of different scenes. Like, there's 3 or 4 different time periods just on this one page. So then it pushes another 3 years to 46 years ago in the Kingdom of Vodka, and we learn that the nation, the Kingdom of Vodka, has to wage war in order to pay their heavenly tribute to get protected by the world government. They have to wage war constantly to get the loot to pay the heavenly tribute. And Kaido's like, why do the Celestial Dragons get to boss everybody around? It's not right. He's already showing a small sense of rebellion, and he doesn't really care. All he really cares about, even at this age, which is 13 at this point, he just seems to want to fight. So then we move forward a little bit more. I believe we move forward a little bit more. The kingdom pretty much offers up, looks like this is a little bit older. So we don't know his age, but he does look a little bit older, and the kingdom is pretty much handing over Kaido to be enlisted in the Navy. He's being sold to the government because if he is handed over by the kingdom, they're pretty much guaranteed a seat in the next reverie, which they want to be in that. The kingdom's like, yeah, we're gonna do this, it's good for the kingdom, and to be honest, we can't really handle you, so it's a win-win. Only downside is they lose their strongest soldier, and Kaido probably won't be too fond of it. I don't know if he's ever gone back to the Kingdom of Vodka to wage war against them, but who knows. Kaido's all pissed off. He's like, I'm not a political bargaining chip. Those were his exact words. And he's yelling. So then we move forward again. We hear from a prison ship, Kaido escaped, and then we see a wanted poster of his. It could be his first wanted poster, but we're not sure, because this is pretty much, it's shown that he's escaped many times at this point, which I believe an exact count is 18 times he's escaped from the Navy, and we actually find out why here, why he got captured 18 times anyways. But we see his wanted poster here, and it is 70 million berries. That could be his first wanted poster due to how strong he was, or it could just be an increasing poster due to how many times he's escaped. So some of the Navy people on board go, we already caught him. Did he really escape again? Then the other one's like, yeah, I heard he gets caught on purpose, so when he's hungry he can eat. Prison ships aren't a buffet, so pretty much, he gets caught on purpose to fill his belly, and then he's like, okay, time to go, breaks the chains, escapes somehow or another. He's pretty much just like, yeah, this is a good way to eat. So then we go forward a little bit more, and we're now at 44 years ago, which this is when Kaido was 15. This looks like 2 years passed from when Kaido was asking about the Celestial Dragons, why they get to boss him around. It could also be 2 years after he was sold to the government. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of time passed between that 2 periods. At 15, he is seen on the pirate island where Rox kind of made his hideout, and he's just beating the crap out of a bunch of pirates there. He's just fighting. He enjoys fighting, so that's what he's doing. And he beats a bunch of pirates at the pirate island. You know, being 15 years old, he's decimating grown adults. We hear in the background, who the hell is this guy? How could he be only 15? He's so strong. And then we see younger Whitebeard. You know, Whitebeard 44 years ago. I don't remember how old he is. I think at this point he's probably in his mid-20s. But Whitebeard looks at Kaido and says, hey, you want to be a pirate? Rox wants to meet with you. What will you do? And then we see Kaido just kind of looking, thinking it over. He's got the ellipses. And then the very next panel, it's Kaido joined the Rox Pirates. They're unstoppable now. So just in this little bit, there was him arriving at the pirate island, him fighting pirates, meeting Whitebeard, and then joining the Rox crew. And they're out on a ship. We get another little skip forward. Big Mom. We believe it's Big Mom. It looks like a younger Big Mom from the silhouette. And she calls Kaido. She's like, come quick, it's important. We're going to God Valley. So this is the point of God Valley, which he was 18, I believe. They go to God Valley, and we don't see anything of it, but we know that the Rox Pirates were defeated by Garp and Roger. We don't know the specifics of it, but we do know that it happened. And then we see a bunch of pirates on Pirate Island go, the Rox have fallen? Are you kidding me? They're all monsters there. How could they have been beaten? They're like, yeah, we heard a Marine named Garp beat him. That's where Garp got his name, Garp the Hero, for helping beat the Rox Pirates. I don't think it's known that Roger helped him because obviously pirates and Marines working together would be a major taboo in the world's eyes. So he just pretty much got all the credit for it. The pirates on that island, I think it was probably infighting because they're not team players. So they're just a hodgepodge crew of really strong people. They probably just didn't take orders right or fought within themselves, and you know that's why they got beat. Then we see a panel of Big Mom going, don't screw with me, where the hell did you go, Kaido? Seems to be right after she probably gave him the devil fruit, and he probably just took off after that, whether it was intentional or not. At this point it could have even been like he ate the devil fruit and then got knocked into the water, and because it's a fish fruit, I imagine it gives him the ability to breathe underwater. So he could have managed to survive like that, and he may not have meant to abandon Big Mom, and she holds a grudge because of it, and he's not one to mend things. He doesn't care. As long as, you know, he could fight, whatever. Then we have another time skip forward. 10 years this time. We see Higurashi, who is believed to be on the Rox crew, but we don't have confirmation. There's a lot of theories pointing towards it. I haven't really looked too much into them because Oda could throw anything at us at this point. So 10 years passed from that point, and Kaido is now known as the embodiment of brutality, apparently. And she's like, yeah, if you study history, humans have always been, you know, might makes right. Brutality has always been the powerhouse of the world. If you want things done, you have to dominate them into effect. At this point, Kaido is 28 because 10 years have passed. He's like, Higurashi is meeting with him. And she's like, yeah, survival of the fittest is our truest nature. It's just like any other animal. Kaido's like, yeah, I 100% agree with you. And from now on, everything's going to revolve around the former members of the Rox crew. And Higurashi's like, yeah, weapons shape the world, so I have a proposition for you. So it's pretty much implied that Higurashi is who encouraged Kaido to move into Wano and make it a weapons factory. But this panel here kind of made me think of something. Kaido could have been the start of the Yonko. He could have been the reason that people started being called the Yonko. Because I don't believe it's been established that there were quote-unquote Yonko before the Pirate King era, before any of that. So this could have been the start of that. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever find out or not, but that's what I'm going to go with my headcanon, unless I'm proven otherwise. I mean, that's always possible. Then we move a little bit more forward in time. He looks like he's in Wano, and he's pretty much raising his Kanabo, and he's like, yeah, let's show the peace-loving nobles the hellish reality of war. He pretty much wants to go, okay, in a fight, anybody is equal. You could be a celestial dragon, you could be a grunt, but if somebody's stronger, they're stronger, period. That's just how it is. And he wants that kind of grade system throughout the world. He doesn't want if you're born noble, you're automatically on top. He wants, if you're the strongest, you're on top. So then we have a little bit more forward in time, and it looks like Kaido's in a dress shirt. Actually here. That's interesting. So Kaido's kind of sitting there talking with King. King does not have his mask on at this point, so it's probably shortly after they joined his crew. And Kaido says that Yamato mentioned Joy Boy, and he's kind of wondering how she heard of that name. We know that it's probably because of Oden's journal, but Kaido goes on to say apparently Oden wanted to open Wano to welcome Joy Boy, and we see King just kind of sitting there with ellipses, so he's thinking about it. And then Kaido's like, yeah, if Joy Boy's the same guy that you're looking for, then I think I know who he is. And we go back to the present as King is going, okay, who is it? And back at the present, the sky seems to open up a little bit more. Luffy and Kaido are still clashing. And before we move forward with that just yet, we get two quick panels of the last CP0 member holding his hat and they're walking away. I don't remember the name of the move, but last CP0 member is getting away. I don't know if he actually sees the ending of the fight, but he'll know of it. And I imagine this will have a lot of implications. And so then we go to the next panel and we see Momo and Yamato. They're both yelling, Luffy will win, I know it. And Yamato's like, do it. Momonosuke, make the flame clouds. Momo's still trying. He can't manage to. Then we see a quick look over to the fire festival. Everybody's laughing, cheering, throwing the lanterns up into the air. And then we see the live floor, the dome interior of Onigashima. We see a quick little tidbit of Kid, and he looks like he's just holding his head, almost like he's got a headache or something, but he looks a little bit worried. I'm kind of curious on what's going on with that. Actually, now that I look at it, he's got his hands in a similar position as the CP0 member. Probably nothing there, but just a similarity I noticed. So now we switch over to where Kawamatsu is. We see Kawamatsu seeing all the water, and then Raizo and Jinbei, shocked, angry look on their face. Then we see a panel of Brook and Robin getting washed away in the water, Minx getting washed away in the water, and Beppo getting washed away in the water. All of these people are in different locations, I believe, but soon they're all going to be washed into the same area. We also see Apu and the number there, and then we see Law kind of looking like determined, but also the look on his face is, ah, shit. So then all of them get washed into the middle area that Kawamatsu was in, and then we see also Tama, Nami, and Usopp with Kinemon and Kiku. All of them getting washed into that area. And then we get a panel of all of the water just kind of washing off of Onigashima, out of the castle, just off the floating island. That could be very dangerous if anybody got swept up into that. That's a pretty long fall. Then we move over to the brothel area where Sanji was, and we see Sanji, Osama, and Chuji, the mouse. Chuji, the mouse, is on Sanji's head. Sanji's got the hearts in his eyes, and he's like, where did all this water come from? Then we move on to Frankie, looking back at everybody who's following him. He's like, careful, you're getting washed away. And we get a very, very tiny panel of Zoro there. He's still unconscious, but Frankie's carrying him, so he's probably still alive, but we don't get any update on that. So then we go over to the treasure repository, second floor, and we see Denjiro talking to Hiyori while still hugging her, saying, you've done a really good job, to endure this for so many moons, so many years, so long that she has endured Orochi being like his second-hand geisha, like stated that she was his favorite geisha, and the song that he liked her to play was the same song that was Oden's favorite. She definitely endured that for a very, very long time, and we see her start to cry, and then we move back into I believe the main floor area, and everybody's like, the island's starting to fall, and then we see a zoomed out picture of Onigashima, and it seems like all of the water that just flooded out of Onigashima washed away the flame clouds. So there are no longer any flame clouds. Yamato's like, they're gone, that's not good. And Momo's eyes pop out a little bit. Not the cartoon like 3, but just like a bulge. Yeah, I guess bulge out would be the better thing to say. And he's like, it's gonna crash. Then we move back to the fight with Kaido and Luffy. And it looks like at this point, the magma dragon is starting to chomp down on Luffy's hand. Kaido's like, what kind of world do you wish to make, Straw Hat? We see a small panel of Luffy and his mouth is big. It almost looks like his mouth as a kid when he stabbed himself in the eye. Yeah, I mean, that's the best comparison I could do. Just in his Gear 5th form. He's got that face and he's going, ugh. So it looks like he's in a massive amount of pain. Makes sense. A magma dragon is biting his fist. So at this point, we go back to a double page spread and we see Momo just pretty much pleading and demanding for the flame clouds to come out. Finally, Momo creates some flame clouds. A lot of flame clouds, actually. It looks like more than what were there. And he does also move the island out of the way. I don't think that I noticed that in my first read through. I just noticed it. But he created a large thing of flame clouds, wrapped himself around it off to the side, so it's no longer right under Luffy and Kaido. So, you know, this is what Luffy asked Momo to do. When Momo does this, he looks a bit shocked, as well as Yamato. Yamato's just mouth wide open, like, what? And at this point, it seems like Luffy was probably just holding out until Momo did this, because immediately right after the island is moved, he starts to overpower Kaido. The magma dragon that was biting down on his fist all of a sudden just starts getting pushed back by a wall, and Luffy looks exhausted. He's got one eye open and he's pretty much gritting his teeth, just pushing. And it shows him huffing and puffing here. And he says, the world that I want to make. And this is over a few panels, but pretty much what he says is, a world where my friends can eat as much as they like. That's the world that I want to make. And as he's saying this, he pushes, and it looks like he disintegrates away the magma dragon, and his fist makes contact with Kaido, and it starts to hit Kaido. Kaido's head starts to go sideways, and then there's just a huge clash of probably Conqueror's Haki that Luffy just hammers down on Kaido, and then he punches just straight through Kaido. He follows all the way through to the point where his fist goes into Kaido's face, pushes it down, and comes all the way through, following through all the way back. So he does a full hook motion at Kaido. As Luffy is starting to overpower him, Kaido has just this shocked look on his face. As he gets hit, you can see Conqueror's Haki lightning just exploding off the punch, and then you see a panel of Kaido. You see the lines like he's moving really fast, and then almost like an after image. He got punched so hard that his body created an after image. And we see a panel just below that of him just slamming into the ground. The very next panel we see is a few of the lanterns, and then we move over to another very, very small flashback. And this is continuing on to where we left off before, when King was like, okay, who is it? And Kaido's like, Joy Boy is the man who will be able to beat me. King's like, yeah, sure. If that's the case, it's not gonna happen. I mean, we're just waiting for nothing. You can't be beaten. So then we go back to the present, where Onigashima seems to be still in the air, but it looks like it's being lowered at this point. And then we see all of the citizens of the Flower Capital looking up at their lanterns that they sent out, and we see two more lanterns. Written on them is, please vanquish the scary dragon. And then the other one is, restore the Kozuki clan. So I believe both of those have just been completed. So that also confirms, I'm pretty sure for us, that Orochi is officially dead, because there was the same parallel drawn in the last chapter. When Orochi got his head cut off, we saw a lantern, please eliminate Orochi. So one, it seems like Orochi is officially dead. Two, it seems like this is the definitive end of the fight. Next chapter, we'll probably get the title card, like I was thinking was going to happen in chapter 1050. Kaido versus Luffy, winner Luffy. The last three panels of the chapter is Momo landing with Onigashima, setting on the ground. Momo looks exhausted. He's got his tongue out, you know, his eyes are kind of half closed, glazed over. And then the very last photo we get of it is Luffy falling. Next week, we are on break, so we're not going to get a chapter next week. I'm thinking probably the next chapter we will get a definitive answer that Kaido was defeated. I am kind of curious on how Kaido is going to react to being overpowered at this point. There's a number of ways that I think this could go. I think that Kaido may, at this point, back up Luffy. I don't think Luffy will like it, but I believe that Kaido will now recognize Luffy as Joy Boy. And, you know, Joy Boy is who he's been waiting for. On top of that, Kaido's mentality is literally, if you're stronger, you should be at the top. So at this point, I think Kaido will yield his will to Luffy. Whether that's a big deal or not is yet to be seen. It could have something to do with the government. You know, all the government ships out. Kaido could hold them off long enough for Luffy and his crew to get away. Kaido could willingly hand over his Road Poneglyph so Luffy doesn't have to search for it. There's a lot of different ways that Kaido is still very, very useful to the storyline. So I'm very curious on how Oda handles Kaido at this point. His character development definitely has moved forward a lot, and I'm curious on where it goes to. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter. It was a very controversial chapter. A lot of people thought that the fight was anticlimactic. I disagree. I think that was huge. Yes, Oda did at one point say that, you know, the fight wasn't going to be finished with just a big punch, but I mean, it wasn't just a big punch. It was probably the biggest punch that we've seen. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you in the next one.